Imagine walking onto a car lot in 2025 and realizing the game has completely changed. The trucks that once sold themselves now sit untouched under a baking sun, their chrome fading, their price tags collecting dust. The same SUVs that dealers fought to keep in stock 2 years ago are now lined up like abandoned soldiers, hundreds deep, waiting for buyers who never show up. And behind every sticker and windshield banner hides a quiet disaster the industry doesn't want you to see. For years, automakers chased record profits, betting that Americans would always pay more for size, more for luxury, more for whatever badge sat on the grill. They built bigger, heavier, and more expensive vehicles, then ordered dealers to take them whether customers wanted them or not. The result? A mountain of unsold metal. $60,000 0-cents trucks stacked 5 rows deep, each one costing its dealer $400 a month just to sit still. Multiply that across the country and you start to see the bleeding. Banks are calling in loans, showrooms are going dark, small-town dealers are handing back their keys. It's a collapse hidden behind glossy commercials and truck month promotions, but the numbers don't lie. More than 1 in 4 dealerships could close before the year ends. Some have already started retitling new cars as used, just to squeeze a few $1,000s back from desperate lenders. Others are auctioning off shop equipment, laying off techs, or praying the next rebate check arrives before the lights go out. And yet, in the middle of this storm, something incredible is happening. For the first time in over a decade, the buyer holds all the power. The same people who were priced out of the market just a year ago are now walking away with deals that sound impossible. A brand new electric SUV for the price of a used Civic. 0% financing on models that once had 6-month waiting lists. Premium trucks discounted 15% below sticker just to keep the bank from seizing the lot. The tables have turned and the profit machine is eating itself alive. Automakers that once laughed at lowball offers are now calling customers back 3 times a week, stacking incentives, loyalty cash, and trade-in bonuses just to move the metal. Even Tesla, once the disruptor, is cutting lease rates to chase volume. Audi, Ford, Chevy, Jeep, Hyundai all scrambling to clear inventory before the next shipment arrives. What caused this collapse? How did the industry go from record profits to record pain in just 18 months? And more importantly, how can you, the buyer, take advantage of it before the window closes? Because make no mistake, this is temporary. Once the lot's empty and the factories adjust, the leverage shifts back. But right now, for the first time in years, the power belongs to you. Stay tuned. Because in the next few minutes, we're revealing the 21 SUVs and pickups that no one wants, and the shocking deals dealers are begging you to take. In the fall of 2025, the American car market looks like something out of a post-crash documentary. Drive past any dealership and you'll see it endless rows of gleaming SUVs and pickups sitting motionless, their tires slowly sinking into the hot asphalt. What used to be a sign of prosperity now feels like a graveyard of bad bets. Dealers call it the wall of steel, a silent, unmoving barrier of inventory they can't sell, no matter how deep they cut prices or how desperate their ads sound. National data confirms the nightmare. The average supply of full-size pickups and large SUVs has exploded past 160 days. Some rural lots, especially in Texas and the Midwest, are drowning under 220 days of unsold stock. At current sales rates, that's nearly 7 months of vehicles collecting dust before a single one leaves the lot. The reasons are as painful as they are predictable. Automakers, drunk on record profits from the post-pandemic boom, kept building as if demand would never slow. They pushed more inventory on dealers than ever before, telling them to take the trucks, the buyers will come. But the buyers didn't. Instead, they faced 8% interest rates, $900 0-cents monthly payments, and a wave of new electric models that confused more than excited them. Now, those same vehicles sit unwanted, each one bleeding money by the day. Dealers pay what's known as floor plan interest, the monthly financing cost of keeping unsold cars on the lot. At roughly $420 0-cents a month per vehicle, a single dealer with 250 trucks is losing over $100,000 0-cents every 30 days just to keep them parked. Multiply that across 15,000 franchise dealers nationwide, and the financial pain stretches into the billions. Walk into a dealership and the atmosphere is tense. Salespeople whisper about canceled bonuses and frozen paychecks. Managers scroll through spreadsheets with red columns that grow longer every week. A veteran GM dealer in Kansas recently admitted off-record that he has $3,200,000, 0 cents tied up in unsold inventory and is already 2 months behind on his floor plan payments. "We used to laugh at lowball offers," he said. "Now we're begging for them." In Michigan, one Ford franchise tried a last-ditch promotion called Name Your Payment Weekend, where customers could literally write down the monthly payment they wanted on a sticky note. 90% of those offers were rejected by lenders, but even so, the stunt sold more trucks in 2 days than the previous month combined. The oversupply problem isn't limited to rural America. In suburban Atlanta, Toyota dealers have a 110-day stockpile of Highlanders, a model once considered nearly impossible to keep in inventory. Honda Pilots, Hyundai Palisades, and even Tesla Model Ys are now joining the ranks of the unsold. Analysts estimate that nearly 480,000 new SUVs nationwide are sitting idle, enough to fill every parking lot in Las Vegas twice over. The visual is staggering. Billions of dollars in assets rotting in the sun, their paint fading before their odometers even turn. Automakers are panicking, but few will admit it publicly. Executives blame temporary mismatches in production and demand, a polite way of saying they built the wrong cars at the wrong time. Behind closed doors, some brands are slashing factory output by as much as 30%, canceling new model launches and quietly delaying next-generation trucks that were supposed to debut this year. Ford reportedly halted shipments of its F-150 Lightning for 6 weeks, citing inventory realignment, though insiders say it's because lots are overflowing. General Motors is offering dealers discretionary relief credits, corporate speak for partial refunds on unsold units, just to keep relationships from imploding. But even these measures may be too late. Consumer confidence in the segment has cracked. Shoppers who once saw SUVs as aspirational now see them as overpriced liabilities. Social media feeds are filled with videos of empty showrooms and sarcastic walkarounds captioned, "Who's buying these?" Financial advisors are warning clients to wait, predicting that the next 6 months will bring the steepest price corrections in a decade. And while automakers promise this is just a cycle, the dealers on the ground know better. The truth is, the market is oversupplied not just with vehicles, but with arrogance. After years of record profits, the industry forgot what affordability meant. They built for shareholders, not for drivers. Now those decisions have materialized in the form of endless unsold trucks and SUVs stretching across the American landscape, a metal monument to corporate greed and misplaced optimism. And as those vehicles bake in the sun, each one silently costing hundreds of dollars a month, the message couldn't be clearer. The era of build it and they will buy is over. For most dealerships in 2025, the true enemy isn't a lack of customers. It's the ticking financial clock that keeps draining their accounts, month after month. Every vehicle sitting unsold on a lot isn't just idle metal. It's a liability quietly bleeding money through a system called floor plan financing. Dealers borrow millions from banks to buy inventory from manufacturers, expecting to pay it back as cars sell. But when those cars don't move, the interest keeps piling up. At an average of $420, 0 cents per month per unit, a dealer with 300 unsold vehicles is paying more than $125,000, 0 cents, every month just to keep them parked. Multiply that by hundreds of dealers across the country, and you begin to see why the industry is on the brink. Some of the biggest dealer groups in the country have already admitted that their monthly interest payments now exceed their payroll costs. One Chevrolet dealer in Illinois reportedly owes $47,000, 0 cents a month in floor plan interest before paying rent, utilities, or salaries. Another in Florida confessed that he sold a new Silverado 1500 at a $2,800, 0 cents loss just to stop paying interest on it. The math has turned brutal. Every truck that doesn't sell in 90 days becomes an anchor, dragging the dealership closer to insolvency. And with national pickup inventories now averaging 170 days, most are already underwater. Banks have noticed. Lenders that once extended generous credit lines are now tightening the screws. Floor plan audits, routine inspections to verify that inventory exists, are suddenly happening twice as often. If a dealer can't prove strong sales velocity, banks are calling in loans early, demanding full repayment or cutting off access to new financing altogether. In the past 6 months alone, over 130 dealerships have reportedly had their credit lines frozen, forcing them into liquidation or emergency sales. Some of these closures have been quiet, others have turned dramatic. In Ohio, one multi-brand group shut down overnight, leaving 30 employees to discover the news by locked doors and empty lots the next morning. The situation is so dire that a few dealers have begun taking desperate measures to stay afloat. Some are retitling brand new vehicles as used, a practice that allows them to claim manufacturer rebates and dodge certain factory restrictions. Others are selling inventory at wholesale auctions for pennies on the dollar, hoping to recoup enough to keep creditors at bay. There are even reports of dealerships creating shell companies to buy their own cars temporarily, just to show banks movement on paper. These tactics might delay the inevitable, but they can't stop it. Every month that passes without a rebound in sales pushes more stores toward collapse. Meanwhile, the automakers themselves are partly to blame for the pressure. Many of them require dealers to accept minimum allocations, mandatory shipments of new models regardless of demand. That means a struggling store might be forced to accept 15 new electric SUVs, even when they still have 30 unsold ones baking on the lot. A dealer in Oklahoma described it bluntly. They're sending us cars nobody asked for, and if we refuse, they threaten to pull our franchise. It's a lose-lose situation. Manufacturers offload their excess production, but the dealers drown in debt trying to store it. And the squeeze doesn't stop there. Interest rates remain stubbornly high, hovering around 7% for dealer credit lines. At the same time, insurers have raised premiums on unsold inventory after a string of lot thefts and hailstorm claims, adding even more cost to already strained operations. One Midwestern dealer said his total carrying cost per vehicle, interest, insurance, utilities, and upkeep, now exceeds $500.00 a month. You don't think about it when the cars are moving, he said, but when they sit, it's like paying rent on 300 apartments nobody lives in. As the financial pressure mounts, the psychological toll is showing. Veteran dealers who once bragged about record profits now speak in whispers. Some have sold their homes to cover business debts. Others have begun calling competitors to negotiate mergers or silent buyouts, hoping to escape before the bank calls. The National Auto Dealers Association recently warned that 1 in 4 dealerships could shut their doors by year's end if conditions don't improve. Behind the optimistic press releases and flashy year-end ads, the reality is stark. Every dealership in America is racing against time, fighting not just to sell cars, but to survive another month of crushing interest. This is no longer a market correction. It's a slow magnetic squeeze, $1 at a time. Every unsold SUV, every idled pickup, every high-interest payment represents a deeper crack in the foundation of the industry. And while the factories still hum and commercials still promise unbeatable deals, the truth is simple. The banks are the ones in control now. The dealers have become their hostages. The crisis now gripping America's auto industry didn't come out of nowhere. It was built, brick by brick, by the very companies now struggling to survive it. For years, manufacturers operated under one unspoken assumption: buyers would always pay more. They streamlined their lineups, axed affordable sedans, and pushed profit-heavy trucks and SUVs, even when data showed consumer fatigue. In boardrooms, executives bragged about premiumization, a buzzword that meant raising prices while offering less. Between 2020 and 2024, the average transaction price of a new vehicle in the U.S. jumped from $37,000 to over $50,000, even as wages barely moved. But when the market finally slowed, the automakers didn't. They kept flooding dealers with high-management models, convinced that the demand would rebound. Instead, it imploded. Manufacturers had also bet big on electrification, not out of passion for the planet, but because EVs carried fat government subsidies and higher sticker prices. So they began forcing dealers to accept electric inventory, even in markets where no one wanted them. By mid-2025, some dealers in the South were reporting that 1 out of every 3 cars on their lots was electric, and half had never been test-driven. Buyers in rural areas didn't have the charging infrastructure, and most simply couldn't afford the jump. Yet automakers continued to punish dealers who refused shipments, threatening franchise suspension or loss of bonus programs. The relationship between factories and dealers, once built on partnership, has turned into open warfare. The financial pressure this created has been devastating. With every month of unsold inventory, dealers have been forced to make impossible choices. Either take new shipments to keep corporate relationships alive, or refuse them and risk being cut off entirely. A small Ford dealer in Alabama described receiving a shipment of 12 electric trucks in August. He sold one. The rest sat under tarps while he begged the manufacturer to delay his next delivery. The response came in a terse email. Failure to accept allocation will result in reassignment of territory. The message was clear: sink or swim on our terms. Similar stories are surfacing across the country as dealers band together in informal coalitions to push back. A leaked recording from a regional meeting in Ohio captured one dealer saying, "We're dying out here, and Detroit doesn't care as long as the quarterly report looks clean." As the tension escalates, some dealers are turning to increasingly desperate tactics. There are reports of dealerships across the Midwest retitling unsold 2025 models as demonstrators or used to bypass factory rebate restrictions. A few are even offering what they call inventory relief leases, temporary ultra-short-term rentals, just to show turnover on paper. It's financial sleight of hand, but for many, it's the only thing standing between survival and bankruptcy. Others have gone further, quietly selling vehicles to out-of-state brokers at a loss just to clear floor plan debt. A handful of large dealer groups, according to insiders, have even discussed creating shadow entities to absorb unwanted stock off their books, essentially playing shell games with millions in cars to keep lenders at bay. While the back-end chaos grows, the front-end experience for buyers has transformed completely. Gone are the days of markups, waiting lists, and arrogant sales pitches. Now showrooms feel more like flea markets. Salespeople chase customers into the parking lot, managers approve deals that would have been laughed off a year ago, and advertisements scream 0% APR and no credit, no problem. Buys in fonts big enough to fill billboards, but these aren't just sales tactics. They're survival tactics. A single lost deal could mean another month of unpaid interest, another missed payroll, another step toward collapse. The average dealership used to make $3,000, 0 cents to $4,000, 0 cents profit per vehicle sold. Now, many would settle for breaking even. The deals themselves have become almost surreal. Brand new SUVs leased for the price of economy cars. A Hyundai Palisade for $319, 0 cents a month. A Jeep Grand Cherokee with $6,000, 0 cents off MSRP. A Lincoln Corsair for less than a base Accord. The automakers that once positioned themselves as premium brands are now slashing prices so aggressively that it's reshaping the perception of luxury itself. It's no longer about prestige. It's about survival. Even brands like Audi and Tesla, once allergic to discounting, are throwing in free charging credits, loyalty cash, and extended warranties just to move units. There are reports of Tesla offering regional secret lease incentives shared only through email to select customers, dropping payments under $400, 0 cents for models that used to cost double. What's happening beneath the surface is even more telling. Factory incentive budgets, once carefully guarded, have ballooned to levels unseen in 2 decades. Automakers are effectively paying customers to take vehicles off dealer lots. GM's internal reports, leaked last month, revealed that incentive spending for Q3 2025 exceeded $4 billion, $700 million, 0 cents, up 280% year over year. Ford and Stellantis are close behind. At the same time, dealers are stacking every bonus and rebate they can find: loyalty, conquest, military, educator, even obscure ones like competitive lease displacement. One Chevrolet dealer in Arizona joked, "If you've ever sat in a Chevy, we've got $500 0 cents for you." For buyers, this chaos feels like liberation. The same consumers who were priced out of the market during the pandemic boom now find themselves in control. They're walking into showrooms and naming their price and often getting it. Social media is full of videos of buyers bragging about deals that sound impossible. 0 down leases, 5 years, 0 interest financing, cashback offers stacked so high that final prices dip below dealer cost. The balance of power has flipped. For the first time in decades, the average buyer has the leverage, and the automakers know it.